Breakfast with Bob. Macho Man. Day 4, Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by HOKA on a Polar Halo Neuroscience Velofix. Today's planned Normatec Four Seasons Resort Hualalai, Triathlete Magazine, and we're at beautiful Huggo's on the Rocks. Our next guest, she and Lucy Charles made the women's race last year, taking off after a phenomenal swim and putting a good 5 minutes on our eventual champion, Daniela Reef. This year, I think we're going to see a lot of the same. She was third off the bike last year. Give it up for Lauren Brandon.
Thank you.
So, Lauren, it's not often someone comes here in their first time out and just goes for it. And that was so refreshing to watch for both you and Lucy, right? Just going off the front like that. What did it feel like to be, you got the chopper overhead, you got motorcycles. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have to say, during the bike, there was one point that I specifically remember, and the helicopter was there and ton of motos, and I just had this big smile on my face, and I was so excited. It was just such an amazing feeling to be out in front at that point, and yeah, it was a great first experience.
Very cool. And what did you take away from that? So obviously you used a lot of energy on a bike and didn't have the run you wanted to have, but you still were a big part of the race. And coming away from that race, what did you work on in the off season?
Yeah, you know, one big thing was definitely nutrition, because I was having some stomach issues on the run. So worked on nutrition, changed a few things, and you know, we've been working on my run a bit and doing some strength work and changing some things on the run. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of see what happens on Saturday and hope to put together a strong, you know, all three have a strong race.
Yeah, so you won 70.3 Ecuador this year. You were second at Campeche and second Ironman Mount Tremblant. So you're very consistent. And when you do fifth Ironman 7.3 Asia Pacific Championships, that means, especially when you're talking at a 70.3, it means you're running well.
Yeah, this year's been really good. I've had probably the most consistent run year that I've ever had, and I've been uninjured, which is always, you know, super helpful. And I changed coaches a few months ago, and I'm now with Julie Dibbins, and so we're doing some new things. Yeah, and she's been amazing, and you know, it's refreshing to do some new things, and just really been enjoying, you know, working with her.
And you guys just did a training block in Kansas.
We did.
Beautiful Kansas.
Yeah.
The hard cycling, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's windy. It's hot, a lot like this place.
Yeah.
And then you're down at you're away from altitude, so you're able to really lay it out there. What did you gain out of that camp?
Yeah, for me, you know, I train a lot in Texas where I live, and so I do get that heat and humidity, which is great. But it was nice to get away from my own routine and, you know, train with people for a couple weeks. And it was a really small crew there, which was great, and we got a lot of one-on-one time with Julie. So it was good, and I had just done Ironman Mont Tremblant, and so, you know, it was nice that I kind of, after a couple weeks rest, got to get with a group of people and really work hard, and it worked out really well.
What would you be happy with here, place-wise, or range?
Range. I mean, I would definitely love to get a top 10. I think last year, if I had run a 3:30, which is definitely
totally doable,
I would have been in top 10. And so, you know, I think I just need to have a solid day, and that's definitely what I'm looking for.
So, had you talked to Lucy before last year that, hey, if we come out of the water near each other, let's work together, or did that just sort of happen?
Yeah, it just happened. We actually had never chatted before ever until after the race.
You didn't meet her?
No.
Didn't know her at all?
We didn't.
Isn't it funny how all of a sudden you become like kindred spirits during a race?
Yeah, I guess we were tied together.
Yes.
So it was great, and you know, I think we knew going into the race that we were probably similar speeds, but we didn't really know how things would play out. And yeah, it just ended up that we were able to work together a bit on the swim. And yeah, so hopefully this year's the same. So
you got into this sport 2010?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Olympic distance. When did you start to feel like this could be potentially a profession?
Yeah, I only had done 3 triathlons before I got my pro card, so I was still really new to the sport. And it kind of took me a few years to learn to ride a bike and be able to run consistently. But I would say a few years ago, kind of jumping up in distance was really good for me. And I love the Ironman distance. And it really excites me to, you know, qualify for Kona and be here. So I'm really enjoying this distance.
So 2016 Ironman, was Ironman Cozumel your first?
It was actually my third, technically, but that was my first year of doing full Ironmans, and that was my first race where I really put everything together and had a good run. Yeah.
And so at that point, you start feeling like, okay, I could be pretty good at this.
Yeah, we hadn't really done a specific Ironman block for that race, and it's at the end of the year, though, so I knew I had some fitness going into it, and after a couple disappointing first Ironmans, I just really wanted to have fun and put together a good race, and I did, so it really made me really excited for the next year and to really focus on Ironman and Kona.
What do you look at as the best race you've had in terms of, it doesn't even mean something you won, but a race where you just felt like, okay, I learned something here, I feel I can carry something from this race to my next race?
You know, really, Ironman Mont Tremblant a couple months ago.
Okay, yeah. 2
months ago. That really was a big race for me because I hadn't had a good marathon in over a year and a half. And so, as you can imagine, it's pretty tough mentally to go into Ironmans and have some disappointing marathons. But finally had a good marathon and was really strong that last 10K and ended up second, only, minute 30 behind Liz Blatchford. So that was, a really good race for me and definitely gave me a bit more confidence leading into this race.
Daniela Reef, you've seen her up close and personal. What makes her great?
Oh, Daniela is she has no weakness. I mean, she's just amazing all-around athlete, and, we all are working hard to try and get as close to her as possible.
Love it. Lauren, appreciate you taking time.
Thanks for having me.
Have the best race ever on Saturday. Lauren Brandon, everybody!
Thank you.
Honcho Man!
We got to keep on moving, and it's breakfast with Bob. And that thing making noise over there.